Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel once again. I just wanted to do a little video today talking about some of my favorite horror authors not named Stephen King. So I picked out 5. I figured 5 is a good number for a little list like this. And once I go over the author and who he is, I'm just going to take you on a bit of a, tour of my collection of all the books that I have from said author. So figured it'd just be a fun little video to do today and talk books. So let's get into it. Okay, so first up, and this is in no particular order in terms of ranking, just talking about 5 authors in general. First up, I want to talk about a Dutch author, Thomas Olde Heuvelt. Even though he's only got 2 books that have been translated back into English, I absolutely love his work, and I really hope that every book he writes, he's going to end up getting transferred into English, translated into English. And yeah, because he's just an amazing writer. He's still young, and he's definitely an up-and-comer. And I think he's just got so much potential to do a lot. We'll get into the 2 books in a sec that I have, and I'll talk about them just a little bit. But just in terms of him as an author as a whole, you know, there's something about these European writers. I don't know if it's the way that the books end up getting translated back into English, but I just find them so smooth to read. They're always page turners, just beautifully written, and I just have such a great time and get so immersed in the world that they build. So Thomas Olde Heuvelt for sure is a horror author that you really need to check out if you haven't read any of his books. Okay, so taking a look at a couple of my only 2 Thomas Olde Heuvelt books. I have Echo, which was the most recent one. This book was pretty good. And Hex, which I absolutely loved. If you hear that crazy panting, it's because my dog just came back from a walk and he is trying to catch his breath. So please ignore that. Yeah, so there are the 2 books by Thomas Olde Heuvelt. All right, next up is another European author. This time we're going to Sweden, and it's John Avijde Lindqvist, a very well-known author. Some even call him the Stephen King of Sweden. And I mean, rightfully so. He writes some pretty amazing books. Let the Right One In is probably my favorite. Like I said, we'll get to the books again in a second, so I don't want to talk too much specifics here. But just Lindqvist, like Heuvelt, again, another European author. I don't know if it's the way it gets translated back in English, but I just find him so beautiful to read. And the thing with Lindqvist is he writes some pretty lengthy novels, and I just get through them so quick. Like, he'll always keep you coming back for more. He's very mysterious. He builds worlds. He tends to always leave you hanging and want to read on and get to the end and solve the mystery that he lays out in front of you. So just a great horror writer. He can be the right amount of gory, the right amount of scary and creepy, and I just love Lindqvist, and he's another one that I don't think there's a book he can write that I won't read. So yeah, John Avijde Lindqvist for sure is top of my list. From John Avijde Lindqvist, I have the Plasterna trilogy, which is I Am Behind You, as you can see here. I Always Find You. And I Am the Tiger. As you can see, the cover there kind of rips through to the cover of I Am Behind You, which makes perfect sense if you've read the novels. Very weird Twilight Zone type stuff going on here, but a very entertaining trilogy. Let the Right One In, which was pretty much my favorite Lindqvist novel. This was just a beautiful read. So well done. Harbor, which I just finished. Wasn't too crazy about it. Little Star, which I liked. It's one of the better ones.
And probably my least favorite, The Handling of the Undead. Just kind of like a zombie novel. Bit of a unique take on the zombie genre, but yeah, I don't know. Not his best work.
Next up, I want to talk about Robert McCammon. A lot of Robert McCammon works are very widely known. Swan Song comes to mind. We'll get to that in a second, comparing that to The Stand. What else? Boy's Life is my favorite McCammon novel. I just find McCammon is more of a versatile horror author. He doesn't really pigeonhole himself. You never really know what you're gonna get when you pick up a McCammon novel. And I mean, yeah, like any of the other horror writers, he just does a great job building his worlds and building the mystery. And you know, the thing I find with McCammon is he does a good job wrapping up his novels. For all you constant readers out there, the one knock on King, the most common knock on King, is the fact that a lot of people don't like his endings. I find the opposite with McCammon. I find he does a great job really wrapping them up in a way that satisfies the reader and you know, gives you the payoff that you're looking for. So that's a bonus when it comes to McCammon. But Robert McCammon is an amazing author that, you know, I really hope I can get through his entire library one day. I do want to read all his works.
My Robert McCammon books now. I've got Gone South. Found a lot of these old paperbacks at used bookstores, which I always love. Look at this one. Usher's Passing. Amazing novel. Really cool cover. As you can see, again, an old paperback. Swan Song. Everybody's comparison to The Stand. I know a lot of people that like this better than The Stand. I don't. It was a good read, but not my favorite by McCammon. And this is my favorite by McCammon. Boy's Life. Really good novel. Coming of age. Some dark mystery stuff going on. It's really good. This is one I'm going to reread one day.
Okay, next up, I want to talk about my boy Richard Laymon. If you are consistently on this channel and you've been with me for a little bit, you'll know that I talk about Richard Laymon quite a bit. And the thing with Richard Laymon, like I've said this many times, is he's not for everybody. He is very vulgar. I'd even call it extreme horror. He tends to sexualize women quite a bit. There's a lot of that kind of stuff going on in his novels. So if you're not into that, he's not going to be for you. But in saying that, as an author, his books are extremely entertaining. They're addicting. They will always keep you coming back, keep you turning the page. I get through his stuff so quick. I've never read a Laymon novel and hit a rut, where other novels, you kind of get into that. It takes you longer to read them than it should. With a Laymon novel, that's never the case. It always just hits the ground running right off the hop. He lays out the mystery for you. And a lot of times it just takes place in one sequence of events, like a night or a day and a half, 2 days. And those are the types of books that you want to get through so quick because, you know, it feels like you're just with the characters and you're right in there. So yeah, Richard Laymon is one of the best when it comes to the horror genre. I will take that statement with me. And back that statement up for sure. Richard Laymon is an awesome author.
All right, my Richard Laymon books. This is the only Laymon book that I haven't read yet. So I'll have to buy more once I get through Savage. I do want to read all his stuff one day. In the Dark. This was a fun read. Blood Games. About a bunch of girls getting together at a remote cabin, only for things to go wrong, as usual in a Laymon book. Traveling Vampire Show, a lot of people's favorites. It was good. It was good. I liked it. A fast-paced ending for sure. Night in the Lonesome October. This was a really fun read. This one was good. The Island, probably my favorite. 1A, 1B with Funland for me, but The Island is one of my favorites for sure. Crazy ending. Midnight's Lair. This is a fun one. Pretty short, but fun. The Lake. This one is a good ride. It's got a pretty cool ending, and yeah, very rewarding. And probably my favorite Laymon novel is Funland. Just love the setting. Yeah, again, really fast-paced. A lot going on in this one. It's a fun ride.
Right, and lastly, we got to talk about Dean Koontz. I mean, Dean Koontz has a library that can rival Stephen King in terms of the number of books that he's written. I feel like every time I go back to the bookstore, there's a new Dean Koontz novel. He definitely churns them out. Dean Koontz, he's maybe a little one-dimensional. If I do have to criticize him a little bit, you always know what you're going to get with a Koontz novel. He tends to follow similar formulas with a lot of his novels. But in saying that, he's an entertaining author, and he wouldn't be this popular if he wasn't. He writes some really good books. He tends to can get a little dark at times too. So Dean Koontz is not for the faint of heart. He has some pretty disturbing stuff go on in a lot of his novels. I don't even think I'm even close to halfway done his entire library. I don't know if I'll ever read all of Koontz's novels. Do I like him that much? Like, he's got to have over 60 or 70, I would think. So it's not that I dislike him. It's just, I don't know if I really want to dedicate the time like I did with King to just say, forget it, this is all I'm going to read, and I'm gonna get through it all. But in saying that, he's got a lot of good stuff, Or I'm not going to go through all of my Koontz novels because I do have a lot of them, but we'll go through just a few of them here.
We start with The Husband. I've got a lot more than this. I'm just going to show you a few here, all the ones that I've read. The Husband, that's a fun ride. Some twists and turns in that one. This guy's having a hard time with all this. Takes him basically all night to catch his breath. It's a little hot outside as well. The Taking. Fun little alien invasion. Intensity. A lot of people love this book. It is intense. It's not lying to you by that title. Start to finish, just a crazy ride. Dragon Tears, probably my favorite Koontz book. This and Night Chills. Again, 1A, 1B for me. Dragon Tears is a really, really good novel. And Night Chills. I love this old copy here. Found this at a used bookstore as well, which is really cool. This is a good one for sure. About some mind control in a small town. All
right, everyone. Thanks again. If you've come this far, I truly do thank you. You did meet my dog today. His name is Henry, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. Yeah, he's a handful, and he's maybe part of the reason why I don't get to upload as much as I used to, but I'm trying my best. Once again, happy reading, and we'll talk to you guys soon.